What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video, we are going to be doing a longer term analysis of Bitcoin and figure out if the bull market is still intact or are we already in a bear market. If you want a shorter term analysis as to what is going to happen this week, maybe up till next week, and the short term levels to focus on for Bitcoin, you're going to want to watch the video that I posted yesterday, which I'm going to link on the top right hand corner. In that video, not only will I cover, what's Bitcoin going to do in the near future, but I also teach you about how to trade ranges, because a lot of people get caught up in ranges and that's how they lose all their money. In fact, that video is going to teach you exactly how to take advantage of ranges according to a market maker model. So if you want to find out exactly how to trade ranges, make sure you watch that video that I posted yesterday. And if you just want the tips and tricks as to not how to prevent something like this from happening again and losing your entire portfolio, you're going to want to watch the live stream that I posted recently, which I will link on the top right hand corner as well. That will get into a lot of tips and tricks as well as a lot of analysis for coins. But for now, let's dive right into Bitcoin, shall we? Now, right now, I'm looking at Bitcoin on a weekly chart. In fact, I should probably go on to another chart, probably this one, just a clean chart for me to work with. So when you look on the weekly chart, right, here's a couple of things that stands out immediately. So the first of which is the fact that we have just filled in this bullish order block on the weekly chart. And for those of you who watch my channel for any given amount of time, you understand that order blocks, right, are untapped areas of untapped liquidity. Basically, it's just market makers, coming back down to cover their, mitigate some losses or build some positions. Basically, they are institutional levels of value, right? And historically, this has been repeated many, many times, right? For example, the most recent one is back in May, where we went down all the way here, came up exactly to retest that order block right there, and then dumping by like 20-30%. And this is something that I called back then as well. And this right here, the bottom for Bitcoin, is something that I called back then as well, right? I've been talking about this level for a few weeks now. So for those of you who've been watching my videos, congratulations, you would have caught the exact bottom. So for now, let's go back to, what's happening on the weekly chart. Is the bull market still intact? Are we doing all right? And there's a few things that I'm going to cover in here today, right? Including some macroeconomic, factors, as well as the stock to flow, as well as, for once, I'm going to start using some indicators. But for now, let's discuss this, right? So honestly, if you were to ask me, right, until you break this level right here, I'm going to draw it out for you guys, just so you can get a clearer understanding on how I view the markets, right? Until you break, I want you to imagine this right here, until you break this low right here, right? Market structure, right? Bullish market structure is still intact. In fact, this is even more evident if we go onto the monthly chart, right? Doesn't look too bad on the monthly chart if you look at it this way. So going back onto the weekly chart, there is a tip that, I always like to give people, which is when in doubt, zoom out, okay? Something that looks terrible on the 1 hourly chart may look very, very different on the weekly chart. And this is something, what this video is predicated on, right? We're looking at the long-term prospects of Bitcoin and is it going to continue going to 100K? And for those of you who wonder how I stumbled upon the 100K sort of theory, we have to go back to a chart like Bitstamp, I believe. Yeah, Bitstamp, this is where I drew it. So if you go back to the 2017 bull market top and you draw a fib from that swing high over there to the swing low of the, the bear market bottom, you get, you get the fib levels, which we have been respecting very, very well, by the way. Like, I want you to show you this. So we've been respecting this very, very well, right? Look at this. You come to find support on the 1.168, we get exact rejection on the 3.618. And at the moment, the targets, right, if you go back to look at every bull market in the past, right, historically speaking, you have always found the top somewhere near the 5.618, right? If we draw from this top to this low right there, right, that low right there, you can see that the top comes in close to the 5.618. And if we draw this similar thing right here, we can assume that the top of the bull market might come close at about 100K, right? I'm not saying that's going to be the top for the bull market. I'll get into why later. But for now, until we hit that target, it's very safe to assume that the bull market is not over. In fact, going back to Binance, just want to show you this, right? Until you break, let's see what level this is. The low of this candle is 39,780, right? 39,780. Let's draw that line right here. Yeah, so until you break this level, you're really not bearish, right? you still maintain bullish market structure until that low has been broken. And is that low going to be broken? Hey, it's a bit hard to tell at the moment, because if you go back to, Bitcoin, again, this is going to be a very in-depth, dive into, what I think is going to happen to Bitcoin and the crypto markets in the long term. But, we do have a CME Futures Gap between 34,400 to 33,000. And usually gaps tend to get filled, right? Inefficiencies in price tend to get filled. For example, you have an inefficiency of price right here, you get filled eventually, right? And you could argue that there's even more inefficiencies down below, right? For example, at 24K, 25K, 26K-ish, that is another level of inefficiency. Now, are we going to go fill back, are we going to fill these two inefficiencies before the bull market continues? It's a bit too early to tell at the moment. For now though, I don't, just play it one level at a time and just understand that on a, on a higher time frame, right? On a higher time frame, you're really not bearish. Like, honestly, you are really not bearish until you break 39,700. I know that's not something that all of you want to hear, but it's just the fact of the matter. At the moment, we have just filled order blocks, and usually in bullish market structure, whenever we fill order blocks, that tends to be the bottom, and then it is primed for continuation, right? In the short-term analysis that I did yesterday, I mentioned that there was an order block right here, right? This right here is your order block, and look at it, we came down to fill it, and bam, immediately, right? Immediately. And this is in bearish market structure, mind you. So right now on the weekly chart, this is bullish market structure. So it is only safe to assume that this was just one massive shakeout, and it's going to continue on from here. And for those of you who have been watching my videos, I've been talking about the fact that November and December are not going to be good months for crypto for quite a few weeks now. So I really hope I helped some people prevent, this catastrophe that happened recently. And by the way, for those of you who have not already followed me on Twitter @_theartofcrypto, this is not only where I'm sharing, tips on, is today a good trading day or not, but just any other trades that I might be looking at. For example, Solve, I called this on my Twitter, only on my Twitter, because I didn't have time to make videos, and it was 65% up in a single day. So make sure you follow me on my Twitter to get access to every little thought that I might be having about the crypto markets. And I might be opening up the monthly subscription for just another, 50 people, like just another few folks. So anything that I, announce about the monthly subscription is going to be on the Twitter. So make sure you follow me on Twitter @_theartofcrypto. So now let's take a look at the second little piece of information that I want to show you. And this is going to be the stock to flow model for Bitcoin, which historically has been, very accurate for Bitcoin in terms of its performance, and just in general, it has been right. And at the moment, you can see that the fair value of the stock to flow as of right now is actually sitting at about 100K. And right now, well, it's pretty obvious that we are nowhere close to 100K. In fact, we are only half of that, which ties back in to, again, I'm going to show you another one right now. And for this one, we're going to have to go back onto the daily chart to show you this. But I want you guys to pay attention to this one little particular, just one little particular thing, right? Don't know why it has gotten so ugly. That's weird. It looked better on the old Binance chart for some reason, but I want you to visualize this one, right? This indicator right here is on balance volume, and it's sort of like a momentum indicator, right? Now, I don't use indicators a lot. In fact, I rarely do, because I sincerely believe that as you grow as a trader, the best indicator is sort of just price action. Because think about it, indicators are programmed on, price action, right? All the data points that you get from your indicators is from price action. So if you think about it, wouldn't price action just be the greatest indicator, right? If you learn how to read price action, you don't need indicators. But in this particular scenario, I believe there is a time and place for everything. I'm not saying indicators don't work at all, because I do use them, just very rarely, right? More for secondary confirmation, or more for when I do not have, anything else to work with. And at the moment, looking at the Bitcoin chart, right? Other than the weekly chart, as well as the daily chart, where we just filled in the order block right here, there's not much else that I can work with, right? And this range right here that I discussed how to trade yesterday. So if you want to learn more about how to trade ranges and not fall for the tricks of these market makers, make sure you go watch that video that I posted yesterday. Again, I'll link it on the top right hand corner. But if you take a look at the on balance volume right now, you can see that we have been forming this sort of trendline resistance right here. And at the moment, you can see that we are very close to the bottom on the on balance volume. And does this indicate that we are about to break out of on balance volume, right? And if we do that, this is how it's going to look at, right? we're going to get a short little rejection. You break above it, you find support, and then you go take out some previous highs. So in this fashion, right, it's going to look like this. Let me go on to a lower time frame, right? So it's going to come back down to retest the top of the range right here, and then you're going to go up to fill in the imbalance at 53,400, and then you're going to come back down to this level sort of right here in this trend line that we have been respecting, right? This trend line, I want you to draw it on your own chart, okay? This trend line is very significant, and I expect this trend line to act as immediate resistance if we get there. And if you're finding like this video valuable so far, make sure you drop a like button down below. It is a small gesture, but it really helps a lot. So you're going to find resistance on this trend line right here. Come back down, go back up, fill in the imbalance on Bitcoin CME Futures, and then eventually, let me go back onto the daily chart. Eventually, you take off to take out the previous highs in order to confirm bullish structure, right? And again, I just want to remind you guys that even though the bullish order block, in my humble opinion, because I have been talking about this for so long, I do believe that this is going to be the bottom, right, for Bitcoin heading into the next 3 to 4 months. I could be wrong, but based on what I've seen the last time, because I predicted this bottom as well, right? I predicted this bottom at 40k based on the order block theory as well, right? You have bullish market structure. You're just coming down to fill in some untapped liquidity and then off to the races. So similar, like I arrived at this bottom theory using this same theory as well. So based on this theory, I would assume that this would be the bottom. So right now, could be only, we might come down a little bit to 45k, 43k to retest this, but otherwise, or we might form a range, but otherwise, I do think that it's very close to the bottom, at least for now. And going back to, OBV, as well as the weekly chart, as well as the Bitcoin stock to flow model, you can see how all of this adds up and that we are nowhere close, to going into a bear market. And if we are going close to a bear market, I will definitely update you guys. And I do understand that there are a lot of macroeconomic factors heading into next year that might make it very precarious, right? The markets are looking very precarious in general, right? Not just Bitcoin. You have the traditional markets, the stock market and everything. They're just overheated right now. And are we going to see some kind of a market correction next year? I would assume so, right? I do think so. And if I see signs of, a bear market potentially coming, I'm definitely going to call it. But for now though, based on all of these data points that I've just shared, you have stock to flow, definitely nowhere close to the top. In fact, if anything, we should go to 100k before anything else, right? We are still bullish, very bullish on a higher time frame. We've got OBV potentially looking for a breakout. We have got a weekly order block fill or a daily zone of demand, sort of fill, and then go up from here. And then, regarding if you guys don't understand what I'm talking about the Bitcoin CME Futures fill that I just mentioned just now, you're going to want to watch the video that I posted yesterday. I get into how to use information such as Bitcoin futures in order to do your analysis. But otherwise, you've got the only thing that really doesn't look too good is Bitcoin dominance, right? Because it has been trying to find support at these areas for quite a while now. And if anything, if Bitcoin dominance bounces from here, then it's going to be a very strong Bitcoin season to 100k before the next alt season. So that's just the only thing that you want to keep in mind. But otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful to you in terms of understanding what is going on a bigger picture. I hope this alleviates some kind of worry. And just one tip before I get on to the next point is the fact that just understand that fear buys more often than not tend to end up in very, very good profit. And everyone is very fearful right now, and rightfully so. We have just been through a very, very nasty little wick and a liquidation. And rightfully so that everyone is going to be affected and very fearful right now, but it still stands to reason that, we have just retested this trend line right here. Beautiful. Everything looks bullish so far. So if you have bought the dip, just hold on, right? Don't buy into what everybody is feeling right now. The markets, in order to be a successful investor and a trader, you never want to have emotions, okay, when it comes to your trades. So discard your emotions, disregard everybody's fear right now, and do what you feel like the market's going to do. At the moment, in my opinion, the market's looking very bullish, and I do believe that this is the bottom. I have been fully, back then, I myself did not even catch the bottom, right? I was telling the people in my private Discord group that I was fully deployed at 49k to 47k. And, for a few days, it was looking terrible, right? For a few days. But now, look where we are, right? We're at 51k. we're in good profits. Some altcoins might not be in good profits yet, but again, don't buy into what everybody, 90% of traders in this market are losers, okay? So if you listen to everybody else and feel what they're feeling, you're going to lose, right? In fact, do the opposite, right? Have a contrarian mindset, right? Do your analysis from a very unbiased perspective, right? And this, at the moment, this is what I'm seeing, right? Maybe there is a bearish scenario, which I posted in my private Discord group. And speaking about the private Discord group, I might be opening up the monthly subscription soon. So stay tuned on my Twitter to know more about it. But otherwise, if you just want the latest market updates, as well as, in real time, I'll be telling you, hey, what's going on? Is today a good day or a bad day? You want to follow along with all of my trades, as well as get access to the trading course that I have that I'm currently in the process of revamping, as well as just the fact that you just want to be prepared, not caught off guard by anything that happens in the markets. You're going to want to join the private Discord group. The link will be in the description below. But otherwise, if you have found this video helpful, if a friend could use this video, make sure you share it to them. But otherwise, may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.